Good afternoon, everyone. This is Fritz Bronner, and we're going to go through a little bit of play of Liftoff 2.0. Um, Liftoff 2.0 is a crisis resource space technology management simulation covering the Cold War space race to the moon with a multi-cross program development and varied mission planning in an adversarial environment, competitive environment, requiring future logistical planning strategy and creates an immersive narrative experience. And it's unique in every way as far as gameplay. I was going to say the odds of having the same game are about, and I've done the math a little bit on this. It's a little complex, but at least quintillion to one odds of having the same game for 1 to 4 plus players and 1 to 4 solitaire with 5 levels of difficulty of solitaire opponents. 13 and up as far as from the commercial standpoint, but I've played with 8-year-olds and trained them, and they've become extremely competent and know how to run a space program after this. So let's look at the two screens here. On the left is my main camera, and that is showing with a little bit of tripod like that is showing a little bit of the bubble chart, which is the R&D and budget track, so we can multi-track our programs. And just to know if there's anyone out there while we're recording this, what I'm hoping is I can play as for a group of you vicariously. I'm proposing that we will play a single player as the United States against a solitaire opponent, and we'll see how we go against that. We can certainly discuss the level of difficulty too. I don't know if you can read or if I zoom in. That doesn't even make any sense. If I zoom in my camera, nope, I can't do anything like that. But I can read the sequence of play for you as far as that goes. So, is there anybody watching wants to vicariously play this? And if I don't get a text, I will continue and I will play, and we can all see my mistakes in the game. Okay, so we're going to play the U.S. and we're going to play with the small R&D sheet here, which is appropriate for micro, mini, short, and mid games. And the scenario I was thinking of what we're going to play, which is in this particular booklet. If we can go to main screen here for a moment thank you. And this is the scenario we're going to play, which is getting the first in orbit. And the goal is to get it first manned orbital and back wins. And we're going to do solitaire. We have budget for 4 years. We are going to start the game in 1956. And we're going to start in the spring of 56. And we're going to be budgeted starting at 40 megabucks. And like I said, we have up to 1959, that last turn. And there are 30 cards we pull from the 1950 set of decks of event cards. I didn't get a chance to cover that in the last broadcast. We have 4 decks, and they are sort of tied to different eras so that they're more appropriate as you go, as you move through the Cold War era, and they come up at different jump points about every 3 years. So this is all we need to pull out as far as hardware, as far as playable, but I'm going to show you what a full set of US hardware for a longer game will look like too. So they recommend, obviously, strategy. There's strategy recommendations, but I'll talk about those as we go on. So let me just show you one other item here, and this is the stack here of all the hardware and items that we can play with that is available in the core game. You can see right here in the second row, orbital satellite, and in the back you can see capital letter A, there's half-stage rocket, one-stage rocket, and I think there's a 2-stage rocket somewhere in this stack. There is, certainly. So first off, we would, in the sequence of play, we would determine budget order, but because we're playing alone, we don't need to worry about budget order. So we're going to go to the next step. The next phase is collect new budget and cash, which, if you notice, our current budget starts at 40, and this is our cash. And so we have 40 cash on a budget of 40 here. So we've established what our budget is. Now we're going to draw an event card. And I will pull this card out. And this is his 56 card here. It says, all my manned launches this turn must avoid freeze months, November through February, either rush or delay to warmer months or suffer -7% on the liftoff step and the OIB step. And this is obviously to freezing temperatures. I guess that's never happened, has it? Okay, on the bottom, if you notice, went over this yesterday as well. There are 4 categories for budgets, and our budget's at 40, so it falls into the left-hand budget there, 0 to 50. If our budget was above 50, at 51 or greater, it would fall into the second category. So the good news is my budget is going to go up to 18, and we'll put that card down. And we will adjust my budget is at 40. So we'll leave cash at 40, but the budget is going to go up to 58. So there's 58. There's my cash. Now, the robot player also, and let's go over that. We're going to pull out the solitaire portion here. So here is solitaire, and anybody new it's joined, they can tell me if they want to play a difficulty level. I'm going to pick hard. I'm going to pick USSR. So first off, we're going to determine over here what their mission plan is. And I will get this, and I'm going to roll their 2d10 percentiles. And let's see what we rolled. We rolled a 22. And 22 says that they're going to plan for a lunar orbital rendezvous, LOR, historical route chosen, which means we go to chart 1 in the solitaire. And that's all we're going to do for that until we achieve, when we reach orbital satellite. We'll find out what the robot player does. Okay, so the next step, we've drawn event cards. Now we're going to purchase our programs. Okay, here are our programs. And this is 1956. Nothing is flown. We're just looking up at the sky with great mystery and trepidation. Everything's open. We could go for satellite. We could go for a manned program. But I recommend we go for a satellite. So the first thing we're going to do is purchase the satellite, and I'm going to check this off. So now if you notice, I've checked that off, and the program cost is going to be 6. So over here, we're going to look at our cash. We're going to drop our cash down from 40 to 34. So there's our cash, and out of that, I get to draw a 1 component Explorer satellite, and I'm also going to get, if you remember yesterday I went over this, 1 tracking for the program. And if we look over here, the satellite technology starts at 30%. So back to here, we're going to put this at 30, and there's our very first program. Next, we're going to spend a little bit more money, and this is a fair question. And I don't know if Merle wants to try this or whatever too, you can jump in. We need to get a rocket. Now, if you look at the satellite, the unit weight on the satellite is, where's my pen here? Okay, there it is. It weighs 300. So I'm going to need rockets. And I remember my budget right now is knocked down to 34. And I have my money, it lasts me spring and fall this turn in 1956. So we have a choice to go with a half-stage rocket, which is a perfect fit, like a Redstone to try, or a Vanguard or something to lift off a satellite into space. And I have a 1-stage, I could get something, it's an Atlas rocket, has a little more oomph as far as lift capability, is 500. But note the price differences for the programs and subsequent hardware to purchase, and also the R&D. Oh, I got a request, half stage rocket. Thank you. All right, we're going to go first in. They requested, we're going to go with the half stage. So ergo, half stage costs 12. So we're going to drop our cash down to 12. And thank you for the response. So from 34, it's going to go to 22, our cash. There it is at 22. And we're just spending our money. Now, so I'm going to get the half stage rocket here, which is for the Americans is a Redstone rocket. So here is the cool, nifty Redstone rocket. Sorry, these everything here is handmade prototypes. We're converting everything into digital form. I got these from digital, obviously, but I printed these at home, and we're getting printer quotes and everything. So this is not total final art. Some of the fonts on this have been upgraded and they're larger and everything. And here's our counter. So what does our half stage rocket start at? It starts at 5%. So that's where that goes. It's a terrible looking, not a very good reliable rocket yet. It's going to probably go kaboom at 5% reliability. So I have two components here sitting in my possession. I have two programs. I have a half stage rocket and I have an orbital satellite. So we've done purchasing. By the way, in this step, you can purchase programs, simulators, and upgrades, replace hardware, launch pads, recruit astronauts, send astronauts to advanced training. One other item we have in our inventory is we have one launch facility as well. Just wanted to show that there. Okay, so next is conduct research and development. So we're going to go through order. I like to go top down, but another trick somebody was playing, and I thought this was a brilliant idea, is we're going to go top down, but that's orbital satellite. We're going to R&D the orbital satellite. And costs, if we notice here, one per die to R&D the orbital satellite. And now the maximum number of contractor teams is 5, so we can purchase 5 1d6 dice here. And so this is my R&D for the term, and this sort of follows the progressional speed of how technology improves on the data that I've watched and discovered. It's interesting. So I carefully looked at that and the dice apportionment and the type of die and everything else. And this seemed to be a very healthy way. And of course, here's my vigorous roll. And it's a pretty darn good roll. I got 5 and 10. So I got 19 there. Here, I'll get this up there. There we go. 19 we got on the orbital satellite. So I'm going to move that up to 24 and I'm going to turn it over. So I just put it there and I flipped it over. That way I know I've R&D'd it this turn. And that was the clever thing I saw somebody do once when they were playing the game. And I went, what are you doing? I said, that's a brilliant idea. So we're going to incorporate that as a suggestion in the rules. Sorry, I moved the wrong item there. That was the rocket. It's the orbital satellite. That was 19. There we go. So now we got the orbital satellite right. So it's at 49. Now we're going to do the rocket. And we did the half stage. The half stage rocket, same R&D cost to improve it. It's 1 per die, and we're going to buy 5 dice. And we're going to buy 5 dice for that as well. And for both of these, I'm going to lower my budget for those 2 purchases of R&D. So we went from 22 down to 12. There's our cash. And I've purchased my 5 dice to R&D the rocket. Let's see. Okay, we're in turn 56 here. And another stellar research with stellar contractors here. That's 12 and 6. So that's 18, which is 1 above average, which is pretty good. I'm happy with that, actually. So we'll go to 23 instead of 25. There we go. And there's our two programs there as far as project management. So we've R&D'd both those, and I can't R&D anything else, and we're done at this point. Okay, so my orbital satellite is at 49%, and my rocket's at 23. Okay, we're done R&D. Next, in the steps here, we declare future missions for next season. So I'm going to use this item here for the current term. We're going to go over here. This is the launch decorations, and the little blue disc up there shows us the turn we're in right now. I'm just going to use that as a marker. We're in the spring, and this would be a future mission in the fall. Now, there is another card I want to show to explain this. We have one launch facility. So as a default, when you have one launch facility, these are where we fall as a default month when we have one launch. It would be, we're in the spring, it will be in November, so it would be in the fall next turn, this launch. And that's where one launch facility where you would launch. So it would be a fall item, and it falls into November. So I'm going to declare a launch, which I put my little launch decoration. Now, if we were playing multiplayer with 2 or 3 other opponents or 4 other opponents, they would also put their little announcement out there, but we don't know technically what they're doing. They could be doing an orbital satellite, or they could be doing a bluff. They could be actually scheduling something else. Now, because I've scheduled that, and we know as a team here what we're doing, this is going to be November, and I'll show you what I'm writing down. 56. I am launching Explorer 1. Okay, that's a good question. We may have a weather event. There are cards for that, and that will happen. There are weather events. There are storms. We had a question, what if there is a weather event? And the launch could be canceled or delayed. It could be put me in the back of the line. It could destroy my launch facility. So these events do happen, very, very realistic that way. I'm going to write down what are some of the circles red on the budget track. Okay, I'll get to that 1 second there. Let me just write this down. Orbital sat. Okay. On this, these are color cues of where programs start. So if you notice, number 1 here is an orbital satellite, and that one starts at 30. It has number 1 there, and this is sort of a starting point as sort of an aid if people want to use that as far as starting points. And likewise, here is capital letter A. This starts at 5%. So it's a hot button there, sort of just as a quick reference to go, oh, it starts there. So it's another, I have sort of dual references or triplicate references, so people can look at quick, fast facilitator sort of player aid codes that way. The yellow ones are where the maximum you can R&D it, and then green all the way over here is the maximum safety levels. And that's why they're shaped as well, and they're labeled. And I've done the colorblind test charts, and at least it's all legible. If you have certain colors that you have a block to, you can still see the shape and obviously see the text. But obviously, we also color coded it too to facilitate it as well for players too. So that's what that answer is. Okay, so what I was doing off camera here is I secretly wrote down what that mission is, that launch declaration. In November 56, I wrote down November 56, Explorer 1. I wrote down an orbital satellite, and I'm committed to that. And that's my secret thing I wrote down. And that's really important when you're doing multiplayer. So we've declared future missions, which also in that same phase, you would prioritize and define future missions and write on the mission record sheet, which I showed you. Next step is decide rushing of launches this turn. We don't have any launches scheduled this turn. We just have one next turn. And the rest of these are all events that happen for missions this turn. So we have determine launch order, downgrade or cancel missions, assemble hardware and astronauts on the launch pad, carry out the missions, modify the budgets, results and updates. And at the end of that, it's go to the next turn. So we've really completed the spring of 1956, and we're moving on at a stellar pace to the fall of 56. Okay, back to the top of sequence, which is announce and determine budget order. We're a solitaire game, so we don't need to worry about that. We collect new budgets. We're in a fall turn, so we only have, our budget's good right now, but we're going to get another event card. It could be impacted by those fickle politicians in Congress in the Beltway, but our cash available still for this turn is 12. Okay, we're going to draw event cards. And here is our event card. Okay, a spy in an enemy country has obtained valuable information. You may raise the safety factor of one of your programs equal to that of the same program in another country. I have a card for that for solitaire. And and my budget, by the way, because it's showing at 58, is only going to go up 7 this time, if you notice, because it falls within the second category. So my budget's going to go up another 7 up to 65. Okay. And I'm going to roll a 1d10, and I'm going to roll off odds or even for which program I have. And odd is satellite, and it's rocket, which is actually better because I rolled a 4 there. Sorry, it was off camera. And then I'm going to roll where's my 2d10s? Here they are. My 2d10s here. I'm going to roll this, and I rolled a 9. And my rocket is going to go up 35% because I stole technology from the Soviets. So my rocket technology is going to go up 35%. Not bad. I'll take it. So my rocket here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 28, 38, 48, 58. Okay, that's really good. All right, now we've done our R&D, as far as our event cards, and now we purchase new programs if we wish. I have 12 megabucks, and I also need to R&D after this in this turn, and that's all I have to get me through the remainder of this turn. So what I recommend is we spend 5 dice on each, 5 contractor teams on each program to max these guys out and get them proficiently ready, because we have a launch this turn. And then what I also recommend is we have 2 left over, and we save that if we decide we want to rush the launch against the Soviets, because the Soviets are going to be aggressive here. And that gives us a little bit of cash, and we spend all our money that way. So if everybody's on board with that, just give me a yes, and we'll go with that. And if I don't get it, I'm going with it anyway. So there you go. All right, we're going to R&D the 5 for the satellite, which is at 49, and I'm going to take my cash down to 7 8, 7 there. And I'm going to roll my dice. And I didn't do so well here. I rolled 3, 8, 10, 13. Terrible roll. Terrible roll. 1, 2, 3, 52, 62 I'm at for my orbital satellite. But we do get to roll the rocket as well, which is awesomely cool. We're going to spend another 5 here. So we're down to 2. And we're going to spend 5 dice on this. How my contractors do. Oh, that one changed on me. You all saw it, right? 7, 11 plus 4, 15. But my rocket, because we stole some technology, did really well. 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 63, 73. That's a pretty good rocket right there. 73. And my satellite's there. Okay, so we've done all the R&D. Next, after R&D, we declare future missions for next turn. Over here. And we don't know if we're going to succeed or not, but we definitely need to schedule another launch, because if we fail somehow, we're not going to get that satellite. And so we're going to schedule another satellite over here. And sorry, we're in this turn here. I should have moved that over. We're in the fall turn there. And I'm going to write in what we're doing here. So this is going to be in the May 57. And it's going to be Explorer 2. And it's going to be an orbital satellite. So we'll put that over here, and that's what we've got written there. Okay, so we've scheduled. Next, we decide rushing of launches. We don't know what the Soviets are doing in a solitaire game, or frankly, what human players are doing. But in this case, being in the blind, I suggest we rush, because this is unmanned. We rush a month, which will cost us 2% safety on all aspects of the mission, on all hardware, and it will cost us 2 megabucks. And that's what we're going to do. So we're going to drop us here, and we have no more cash. And we're going to move us up a month to October 1956. So we rushed 1 month, and it'll be October. Okay. Next, we assemble on the pad everything we're doing here, and we're going to take, if we can go to camera B here, please, for a moment, and I'll just sort of show this. Okay. And we would display this. Okay, we can go back to the main camera. We can display that. So we are launching that. That is our verification check to make sure all the weights and payloads work. The Redstone rocket lifts 300, and the orbital satellite weighs 300. Let's stay on. Let's go back to the camera again, camera 2 again for a second here. We can go over here to the mission docket here. Beautiful. So right here, we're going to move into the launch, and we're going to look at our safety factors. Our rocket, if you remember, is at 73, and we are on the launch pad, and we're going to roll our Redstone rocket. 3, 2, 1, go. And we rolled a 62, which is awesome. Our Redstone has succeeded. Go flight, and we go to OIB, orbital insertion burn, which is also the rocket again. Going to roll this again. And we rolled 53, which is great because our reliability is at 73. And that goes there. And now we go to the satellite. The satellite is at 62%. Is that correct? Yes, 62%. So we are rolling for the satellite here. This is where it is for the satellite power on. And we'll give that a roll here. Sorry, it went off camera. 42. It is successful. Congratulations. We got a satellite into space, folks. That is awesome. Technology theft never hurts, does it? So the good news is also, staying on this camera, this is going to go up 1%, and this is going to go up 1% just by experience too. Both those programs go up at 1%. And when we look at the Prestige, here's orbital satellite. We're going to be first nation, we hope, but we're going to see what the Soviets do here. That would be Prestige of 16. Okay, but we're going to check how the Soviet player did. Okay. If we go here to the, here we go, this will work here. Main screen here for this camera. There we go, that works well, we can read it. This is going to be the roll, and the Soviets, it's a -1 to assist them here. A 1d6, and we're going to roll it. And I rolled a 1. And guess what? They launched in October 56. And that's when we launched. It's a good thing we rushed in October because they would have beaten us. But in this case, ties go to the robot player, so they beat us. They got first place, which is a bummer. And I'm going to take my launch facilities off that launch declaration too, as far as that goes, because we did that launch. And my hardware, by the way, is done with, because we use that. Now I have to buy replacement off the launch pad. So instead of first place on this, we're going to get second place, 10. Plus 10. So I'm going to write here US and CCCP. First and second. And there we go. We got beaten by the Soviets. I told you they're going to be a tough player. But we're close and we're well funded. So after the missions, we're going to modify our budgets. So over here on budgets, my budget is going to go up. Where are we here? 10. So we're at 65. It's going to go to 75. And that's where we're at in the end of this turn. And we've modified budgets, and we go to the next turn, and we're going to go into 57 up here. Right there. That's the end of the turn. And we're going to announce determine budget order, which we're playing solitaire, not an issue. We're going to collect budgets in cash. I had no cash, extra cash. So my cash is going to match my budget. It's going to match here. If I had 2 megabucks extra, I would have had 77 cash instead of 75, matching the budget. But that's a very, very healthy budget. And we're very appreciative. Congress has been good to us, and we are in the space race as far as that goes. Okay, now remember, we have another launch scheduled in this spring turn now. This new turn we've just entered. We're in the spring of 1957, as you can see there. And we have 2 programs right here. Now remember, this game goes to 59. That's it. The end of 59. That's all we have. There's no more funding. So hopefully we can beat the, we're doing the MISS, Man in Space Soonest race, into orbit here. If you've just joined us, we're doing the race to get astronaut into orbit and return safely. Okay, we've done that. We're going to collect event cards. And that's mine, and that's the Soviets. Okay, my card, I got my nation's leader appropriated an additional, yes, this is de Gaulle, but it's, for everybody, as international, 5 megabucks cash for the program immediately. So I am going to go up 5 in cash. I'm at 75. I'm going to be at 80. I'm going to move my cash up. And I forgot to show you the robot player, but they got a graduate student in R&D. It would have been nice if we got that, because this is a a benefit on your R&D and your contractors. You get a +1 on every R&D roll we do this turn. Oh, that would have been awesome. But we didn't get that card. They did. Okay, that's disposed of. That's disposed of. Okay. Okay, now we purchase replacement programs and new programs and all sorts of goodies like that. Well, we know we have a launch schedule. So we're going to buy one of these each. And that costs 2 and that costs 1. So that's going to be 3 megabucks right there just to get that replacement for that launch 1, 2, 3 in the cash. Oh, look at, yeah, I didn't read that card on the bottom. My error, guys. I forgot to read my budget. My budget also went up an additional 8. I'm sorry, I forgot to look at that. So my budget went up 8 more. 75, 83, which is great. But the cash doesn't change. Okay, so let's go to our programs here. We have a half-stage rocket and we have an orbital satellite. Now the good news is you can get subsequent prestige for launching additional orbital satellites. It'll give you another +2. And the other good news about that is, let's look at this for a second. Subsequent right there, +2. Now, if we fail, it's a -3, but that's the risk and reward of space. We get experience. So every time a rocket clears the tower and every time we have a satellite roll, they're going to go up 1%. And I recommend, in the long term, you should R&D your satellite up to full capacity, even though we've succeeded already, because it's for automation technology, it is the determination of reliability for all your automated hardware power on for everything else in space. So in the long-term game, you really want to get that satellite technology up to 95% or greater. So the next step, obviously, is the manned space mission, which is getting suborbital or orbital and getting them into orbit. And that's winning the game in this short game we're trying to do here. Okay, back to the hardware that's available. And let's look at capsules because we have satellites. So we want to really buy in this short game here the one-man capsule versus the one-man mini shuttle, because that is really expensive. In a longer game, it makes practical use. It's reusable. You can do duration, and it helps in the tech trees on later programs if you want to go the 3-man mini shuttle route. As far as improving that'll start at a higher safety factor if you R&D the one-man mini shuttle 75% or greater. All these programs have tech trees. So, for example, let's look at the one-man capsule. If we get it up to 75% or greater, if you look at the next line where it says A equals 20%, if you notice to the left of that, the normal starting position is 10%. So you're getting a bonus by developing the one-man capsule up to 75% greater. When you develop the two-man capsule, instead of starting at 10%, it starts at 20. And that's really helpful. And that's a cost saving. It's an advantage of going sequentially that way. But we're not going to have to worry about that in the short game, but I wanted to cover that. There's also different space suits, so we're going to just probably go with the pressure suit. So we're also going to have to buy astronauts programs, and we get 7 in the first group right there on the right. You can see group 1 equals 7. So we're going to randomly draw some astronauts. We're going to need to purchase that too, and we're loaded with cash. So we're going to buy, here's what I recommend. We've bought a replacement hardware for our orbital satellite launch, and I think we're going to continue. Oh gosh, we don't want to buy the next rocket yet, because if you look here, our Redstone rocket is at 74%. We don't get the bonus break if we buy the one-stage rocket, which will get us a little higher up. Instead of starting at 10%, it'll get us 5%. And I recommend we be really frugal this way and work this way, even though we're pretty high up. I would wait one turn before we purchase that. But let's get the capsule and let's get that going, and let's get astronauts and get that going as well. So we've got a lot of money to spend. So let me start checking these things off, and I'll tell you what we're going to buy here. So we're going to get the one-man capsule, and we're going to buy astronauts, and we're going to buy a pressure suit. And besides, we're going to launch on the half-stage rocket for suborbital first, most likely, so we can get that bonus and get prestige. So the astronaut program is going to cost us 15. So it puts us at 72.62 in our cash. And we're going to get 7 astronauts. Okay, here we go. Thank you. Oh, I knocked something
Fritz,
over.
we got a couple questions.
Oh, I didn't even see that. There was some sketches of the shape of the capsule. There were many proposals of different shapes of capsule and whether being reusable. Yes, there was. And of course, let's not forget the X-20 for the Air Force too. So, and the Soviets were looking at lifting body programs too. There's a couple great books on that. Can we buy monkeys instead of astronauts? Excellent question. Yes, you can. There's actually in the prequel game, it's a whole thing about critters, and it even goes into detail. There's a special event card that we can play with the critters, I'll say, in this game. It's normally we skip it because it's such a all-encompassing game, but you're allowed to get half the prestige instead of 16 for man in space, or what is it, plus 24. You get half of that, and but you also, for losing them, especially for the U.S., it would be a publicity disaster. You get -5 for losing an animal. Now the French had rodents and cats. The Soviets went the way of dogs and also mice, and the Chinese also went with rabbits and mice and a couple of dogs, and we actually got the names of them all and everything too. So they're going to be included in the prequel game, and we have a couple. We have Ham and a couple of the other monkeys, and as far as that goes, the rhesus monkeys and the chimps. And we have obviously Strelka and Belka and Laika and all that too. So answer yes, but we're not playing that in this particular game. So we're drawing out 7 astronauts, and these are who I'm getting. Oh, early recruits. Just a random drawing. 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and we got 7 astronauts, and we'll go over their skills in a second. We'll figure out who we're going to put in the pad and everything else. Let me just make sure they don't have any marks. I saw one with a mark. Okay, so we've got our cool little astronaut corps here. And along with that, we're going to buy, so we went down for astronauts. We're going to buy the capsule, which is 18. And we're going to spend more money here. So we go from 61 to 43 in cash on the capsule. And let me find my capsule card and my counter. Okay, guess where the one-man capsule starts on safety factor? It's brand new, so it starts at 10%. Okay, and here is our Mercury capsule. So we have that in our inventory too. I put the other cards. And let's get this guy out. I can't remember what I did. I know I bought those other guys, but I don't know where I put them. There we go. We've got our hardware on the side here. And one other thing with the capsule, we get a simulator. And I'm going to roll the simulator for the capsule because we're going to play a little bit of enhanced rolls. And I rolled a 3, if you notice here. So my simulator is at 3, which is on the top of the game board here in one-man capsule. If go to camera here for a second, I'm going to move us up. There we go. And I put the little box there and it says it's at 3. Okay. So simulators apply to astronaut saving throws. Okay, one more item we're going to buy is a pressure suit. And let me find my pressure suit. That's a Navy Mark IV. Yep, that's it. There's our pressure suit. And oops, I got the wrong one for that. Here we go. So the pressure suit starts at 30% as far as reliability goes. So we've got that. We've got one pressure suit for all. It's suits for every astronaut. So it's not like you have to buy individual suits on that. Okay, so let's go through this. We bought astronaut training. We bought astronauts groups for our original 7, which are random draws we did here. We bought the one-man capsule. And we bought the pressure suit, and we've already bought a half-stage rocket and an orbital satellite. We should buy another half-stage rocket because we need one for each. And just in case, I know there's contractors that don't deliver hardware, so I'm going to buy another one. And that half-stage rocket costs us 1, so our cash will go down to 42. You can see the drain money bleed on everything. Things are expensive. So, okay, now we have, let me just show you a summary here. This is what we've purchased as well, and we have all this hardware out on the board. We can send some of our astronauts to advanced training. Did I bring out the advanced training card here? Let me pull that out too for the fun of it. Here we go. This is advanced training, and this costs 2 per astronaut to improve their advanced training. I'm going to quickly go through our astronauts here. This guy Bull has a 1, and mostly we need to focus on capsule skills. I'm going to send him into advanced training. He's at a 1, and I'm going to send White also. He's at a 1, and I'm going to send them to advanced training, which means they're going to sit here, and they're going to come out in fall 58. So here they are here, fall 58. I'm going to put them on the side over here on the board, and they're going to bake in advanced training. And we send them. So hopefully when we get them out, they'll be really great guys to consider for the orbital mission. And we have some other guys. Let's see, we got somebody at a 2, another 2, another 2. Oh, we got Slayton at a 4. So Slayton is looking really good, probably as our first guy into space as far as that goes. Okay, so now we're going to R&D, and we'll just go at the top of the board here because we can do this in order. Now, to R&D our one-man capsule, it's going to cost 1 per contractor die here, and that's up here. So we're going to roll these dice, and I'm going to try to keep them in sight, but there we go. So we got 5 and 6 with 5 dice is 11. Not too good, but it's going to go up to from 10 to 21, and that's our R&D. We're going to turn that over so we know we've R&D'd the capsule here, and this is a great way to keep track. And everybody in a multiplayer game is doing this all simultaneously. So they're just all busily engaged doing their stuff, working on their programs, having different positive and negative results, and not sure what the other guys are doing. So next I see is my space suit. I'm going to spend, I forgot to spend my money here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to spend another 5 on the pressure suits, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here we go. Ooh, pretty good roll here. We've got a 10, we've got 11, so it's 21 plus 2 is 23. 1, 2, 3, 33, 2, 53. Hey, 50% chance on that. Okay, I am going to R&D my rocket because we eventually are going to put an astronaut on board. My rocket, if you remember, is over here at 74%. And so we're going to buy 5 dice for that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go contractors. Oh, I'm really fortunate here right now. 12 plus 10 is 22, plus 2 is 24. I'm going to max out actually. So the max I can R&D it is up to 88%. That is maxed out. So there is my rocket program. The Redstone rocket is looking awesome. And I'm down to 27. And things are getting more expensive, but we've R&D'd that as well. We haven't done the orbital satellite. We have another, we might as well try to succeed on that. And I'm going to spend 4 on that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm down to 23 in cash. I'm going to buy 4 dice, 4 contractor teams, and R&D the orbital satellite. And I rolled 7, 10, 12, 1, 2, 65, 75. Okay. All right. So just to give you a scan here, that's the pressure suit. That's my budget. That is the Redstone rocket. That is the Mercury capsule, 1-man capsule at 21% and orbital satellite. Okay. So we're done R&D. We've done all that. See how things start really simple and then you have more and more things to do here, just like any job. So now we're going to decide, declare future missions for next turn. We are not ready to, even with good R&D we get to R&D next turn before we launch. But we are not going to be in optimal safety range to risk astronauts on this flight. So I don't think we're going to schedule anything. So that's what I recommend. We could schedule another satellite. And if you want to do that, if anybody's watching, please make a motion right now and say, launch a satellite next turn. Otherwise, we're going to ignore that. And we have a mission on the scheduled this turn, which is an orbital satellite. Now, I can downgrade it, which you can't downgrade a satellite any more than what it is, which is canceling it. And the other option is canceling. But I wouldn't mind launching it. I get another percent. And it moves from, the rocket will go up 1%, which is good. Go, 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 launch. So, okay, we'll go for the launch. So the question is, we would decide if we're rushing, but the fact that they've launched and beat me to the satellite business, I don't need to rush, so I'm not going to spend money on that. So we're just going to assemble on the pad. If we can go to camera 2 here briefly. We're going to assemble this, and here is the rocket, just to prove to everybody that we have this hardware. We can launch with this. We can launch another orbital satellite. And we're going to put this on the pad, go to camera 1, or no, actually stay on this camera here. We're going to move this camera up here to follow the launch sequence here. Okay, excellent. So how do we know? And I just want to sort of make a reference. We have another book that tells us about all these sequences for all these different types of missions that are available on this prestige chart. Okay, so there is a book that gives you all the steps and what are the rolls for, who you're rolling. And there's also cues on here too. It does tell you for liftoff, you're rolling against the rocket or the rocket and booster. And if it's combined package, you're going to roll for the lowest safety because that's the weakest link in the chain. And this game is very logical following that logic. So if you have some solid booster or, strap on that is in cold weather, well, that's the weakest link in the chain probably in really, really cold weather. So you'd roll against that as far as the roll goes. And then in the OMB, you would go against the rocket at that point. But in this case, we don't have that. So we're just rolling against the rocket, which the Redstone rocket currently is at 88%, if you remember. So we're going to roll this now. And here we go. We rolled a 25. So it is a go flight and it goes to OIB. We're going to roll the rocket again. And we rolled a 38. And next we're going to the satellite power on. and our satellite is at 75%. And we rolled a 52. So that succeeds. Satellite powers on. So we got a subsequent satellite power on. So over here, we're going to give us 2 prestige points for the budget on that. And the satellite, the rocket worked and went up 1%. And the satellite over here at 75% is going to go to 76%. We'll move our little tripod over there. So there is the orbital satellite now at 76%. Okay. So we're not going to check what the Soviets have done. Oh, and over here, because we have no launches scheduled, I remember that was in the spring. We just did this launch. This is gone now. And since we're at the end of the turn, it's going to go there. And this is the end of the turn here. It's going to go there. So now we're in the fall of 57, and we did not schedule any missions this turn because we're going to have a quiet phase in R&D secretly. What would an incident like Apollo 1 or 13 be on the R&D track? There are event cards that astronauts die in training, and they die in training in a number of historical ways. So it could be an Apollo 1 event that way. It could be a cosmonaut who dies on a train track or in a car accident, which all these type of things have happened. Because that was a training mission. It could, Apollo 1, technically, it was a mock-up mission launch a couple weeks before the actual launch was supposed to go. Apollo 13 would be a failure during the mission, and that would occur probably during orbital activities. And that type of sequence, we'll go to a failure mode if we don't encounter any interesting failure modes. We'll go to that and we'll have some fun on that. But that's an excellent question. And it would be a series of sub roles and things like that. Please recap how many core game periods and what are likely expansions. Now, I'm not sure about core game periods. How many core game periods? There's a lot of expansion potential here. In this game we start symmetrical in these classic sheets here. Everybody gets a sheet like this in this game. It's going to be like this. If we play historical, it's going to have the historical, pre-early and all that stuff. There is, there's, like I said, a micro, a mini, and a short game, which we're playing a short, and there's a medium game, and then there's like a midpoint. So what these are sort of progression, self-taught games to say, hey, if somebody who doesn't know space, how do I play this game? You start with the satellite game and just get a satellite up. And, you could probably do this in about 25 minutes the first time. And there's even a read through step by step, like I've been explaining in the strategy book of what happens next, literally how to work the orbital satellite, what components you need and decisions, and the bubble steps on the big mission board over here. And then the next step is manned in space, and then manned orbital EVA, doing a duration docking. A combo of that is another mission, and then that's ending the game, and that's a nice content. And so we limit the budget into a certain period because unlimited budget wouldn't be fair, and everybody was working tight on real budgets in that case too. They were actually really squeezed on that. We're looking really, really robust right now, pretty good on our budget, I will say. But I think we're going to get slammed on the cards at some point too, right now in this current game. The midpoint game, you start actually right at Gemini. You have the program. It starts at its initial safety factor, and the Soviets have a Voskhod, and they start at that as well. And it's sort of a race at that point. The certain prestige things are already checked off that have already occurred, like the in space, Gagarin's already gone in space or things like that. And they have starting budgets, and whether they're historical or standard core game. So you have a lot of different ways of starting that to different levels to move you in. There's I thought the 4.0 version of High Frontier did a beautiful job on explaining by starting small, also bite-sized, getting into that game. It's a beautiful looking and elegant game design as well. And I thought the biggest new contribution to that game is the way the rules were broken into subsets to help people understand the mechanics and how the game works. And it just, for me, it was, like DOS for Dummies. It was like, wow. And that was very helpful for me. And that's kind of what I wanted to offer this. How does launch order work if you have multiple players? Does it go by whoever declared a launch first? No. That's the interesting, fun part. So let's go over here for a second. Yeah, let's clear that. I'm going to use a couple different pieces because I don't have the other components out here. So we're going to pretend like this is another faction. And I'm going to use dice as another faction. And then I'm going to use these guys as another faction. So these are all different factions. Just pretend like that. And so they all link up here. Let's say everybody's got a launch and they scheduled here, right? And so this is a country, this is a faction, and this is a faction. And they're all scheduled there. And nobody knows what anybody's launching. And then next turn, they're all scheduling too, saying, yeah, I'm going to launch here, and I'm going to launch here, and I'm going to launch. But this guy with the cubes, he's got 2 launches. And because he has 2, I think he gets to go like this. So he's got a window opening like that because he's got 2. Now, he may not launch 2 launches. He may just say, oh, I'm going to go there. And they're going to say, how can you do that? Well, remember here, I just purchased this other launch facility, which he's going to show his other launch card. So everybody now knows, well, this guy has 2 launch facilities. Okay. Right now, we're looking at 2 turns here, and we're in this turn currently. We'll just say here. So we're looking at 3 players. They all got launches in May. If we didn't, they just scheduled future launches for next turn here. Now we're back to the present. We each have we each have a launch, and we're all in the same month. But now we go through the phase, secretly write down if you want to rush 0, 1, 2, or 3. Remember, it costs you money, 2 megabucks to move it up a month, and it costs you 2% each month you move it up, and safety on that. So you would secretly write down all these guys, and we'll just say this guy secretly wrote a month, and this guy secretly wrote a month, and this guy didn't because he wanted to be conservative about it. So now we have 2 guys, and they're both tied in the same month. And it works out at this point. Then you go to lowest budget order, the lowest budget. And there's over here what I've been talking about. Lowest budget order, first, second, third. Now in a tie, it's determined by budget. And this guy could have second guessed. And then what's interesting is like, so it's going to reverse here because this guy has the lower budget. And this guy, now remember, we don't know anybody's what they're launching yet. That's the interesting thing about it. So it's like, oh, he lost out, you're thinking. Well, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Maybe he's launching something completely different. So, but these people reacted by moving up depending when you're in this game. So if you're starting to see the bluffing and counter bluffing at this point. So this is the default order by factions, but we still don't know what they're launching. And now when we start saying, okay, assemble your rockets, and here's the mission order, because this guy had the lowest budget of everybody, or maybe this guy was even lower, but he's not in that month. So he gets to go. And then it turns out, okay, these guys are both doing manned spacewalk or something like that. Both of them happen to be doing it. This guy is like, I wasn't even got. Then he thought, because he was ready to do it, they got to beat him. They got to beat him. And he's like, nope, I'm sending a probe to the moon. So he's not even in that race. He didn't want to. Now, of course, somebody could have been really risque and going further to 2 months and moving it up here or something like that, or this guy could have gone that way too, but he's lowest budget, so he can play a little more conservatively. Now, the beautiful thing, it balances out because this guy, well, actually, he should be up here too because he has 2 launch facilities technically. But this was scheduled back then when he scheduled it, and this was a new turn. He scheduled this the previous turn. He can't move that up yet. So he can't do that yet. So no, that makes sense as far as that goes. So there you have it. The launch order is sometimes full of surprises. And then what happens on the actual launches? You could have a failed launch, which I have not had any bad rolls yet. Was the first launch a fluke? Can we do it again? Was my first launch a fluke? Or I'm not sure which one we're talking about in the rushing or not. So, but is there a penalty for canceling launch? Yes. Yes, there is. So this guy, if he was bluffing, it's -3. But let me tell you, it's really worth it if the other guy blows up or loses or just fails on the mission. So there's a -3 prestige. It is a risk. And so there is a penalty for that. But I've seen people do that, or they're doing a different mission, and they're just sort of subtextually, God, I want to get that guy in space while they're talking the game or whatever, just bluffing like a poker game, like, oh, my hand is looking really good. Oh, my capsule's looking really good. And, bragging because they saw it perform on a previous mission. But canceling a mission out here is -3. And that's -3 in prestige. So that does lower your budget. And that can hurt. So you don't really want to lower your budget too much, because every little scrap of funding ends up counting in this game. I mean, we're already at next turn. I'm in the fall. I'm lower. I'm really, really, going to probably spend almost all my money here in this turn. And I'm probably going to get my budget lower too currently in this game. So I hope that helps. I hope it's very, very interesting, the dynamics. The interesting thing is when you buy a second launch facility, when this guy did in this current turn, and he scheduled this the previous turn, he gets to schedule future missions here. He bought a second launch facility. That's 20 or 15 megabucks. That's a lot of money versus moving forward by rushing, but risking 2%. It's cheaper that way. But then again, he defaults this way and he could rush from here. So he's in a better position, but it's a big investment. It's a big choice to give you more operational opportunities. So those are part of the choices. In the long game, I will even say the first choice you go for a rocket is if you want to go for a Redstone or an Atlas. The Atlas lifts more. It's going to give you, it's going to help you. The Redstone's going to get obsolete after manned suborbital. It's going to get obsolete. The Redstone can get you up to manned orbital, and it can take strap-ons too. We've allowed that in the game, which is going to give you an extra punch, and adding on those strap-on boosters gives you an extra 1,000 lift, so it goes to 1,500. And that's going to be really good for sending interplanetary probes to the moon, or a lander, a surveyor type to the moon, or something like that, as far as that goes, because the weight and everything on that it's going to have. There's also a little bit of expansion tweak on hardware. We have a generic one in the core game. It's just an interplanetary, meaning moon or Mars, but we've actually broken it down even further. So you have lunar probes and then more robust satellites going to Venus and Mars in this game. If you noticed out here, we have, this is Venus and this is Mars, and there's a delay as it goes out here for the transplanetary burnout here as far as that goes. But you get prestige for that too in the prestige chart there. So I hope I answered your question on that, and I just want to clear the board here and get my head working right on this so I don't get us lost in the current game. But that is one of the fascinating dynamics, is the bluffing there. And when you have 4, we had a couple extra factions playing 6. The launch dockets get really exciting when you have 5 and 6 launches in a given month, and it covers over 2 or 3 months or 4 months of launches. It is one thrill after another watching all these rockets go, and not all of them go far either. So that's kind of interesting. Okay, so we have nothing scheduled this turn for a launch. And but we do want to buy in this fall turn a one-stage rocket here. Remember, we delayed last turn, and we want to buy that. That's going to cost us 20. Oh gosh, we can't buy it yet either. That's going to cost us 24, and we only have 23. So we can't buy it until next turn. But we're going to R&D everything else. We're going to R&D everything else. So we're out of money on that. I probably shouldn't have, well, you say, well, I shouldn't have spent the money on contractors on that orbital satellite. But then again, the orbital satellite might not have succeeded. Well, that was probably my mistake on that. It's interesting as far as how these things fall out for that. So I can't purchase the one-stage rocket. So we're going to go straight into R&D, and I'm going to R&D almost everything here. So first off, we're going to R&D the one-man capsule. And the one-man capsule to R&D 5 contractors, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because we've got to get that up to speed. And we had a terrible roll. I don't know if you can see it. It is awful. 4, 6, 10. Okay, we're at 31%. That really was costly. All right, next up, we're going to turn this over because we just R&D'd that. So there's the Mercury capsule. Next on the docket is the pressure suit. We want to have that going up. 5. Of course, I get the great roll on the pressure suit. I guess they're different contractors here, and they're helping me out. So that's 1920 from 53 to 73. That's golden. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the money there. And that's it. Let's see. We've got astronauts in training. They're not coming out until the fall of 58. And that's all we can do. But we have a little bit of cash left over, and we're done with our turn. So this is going to go to the spring, and this is going to go here. And we're going to draw event cards. This is kind of interesting. That's mine. I got a potential rocket breakthrough. I roll a 1d6, add, if I roll 1 through 4, 100 lift to the half-stage rocket, which would be huge. Well, not so huge. Gets me to 400. Doesn't help me that much. It helps me if my creeping payload, if I got a card that says your satellite weighs 100 or 50 more. That's where it'll help me. Okay, why do you feel sets of 6 dice best present the examples you have shown? Why 6-sided dice on the R&D? I assume you're talking about, and that's a great question. I looked at all these hardware programs, and I looked at their development times, and they generally, 5 6-sided dice, the average is 17.5. And when you look at the development for where it starts in, when you get a go and you start with the program, you purchase it, and that gives you all the tool and die and basically the assembly line and then putting it together and everything. It takes about 2.5 years, which it goes for 2.5 turns, and it sort of follows those results in the timetable. And the challenge here is you're trying to get all your programs that should work in sequence, which I have sort of failed here. My capsule is way behind my pressure suit, and my rocket is doing really well to get me into at least some orbital, but not orbit, and I haven't even started it. So I may have to take some risks to beat the Russians. So it sort of follows that. I really wanted to make sure, and I hope this stays up here, do longer interplanets take multiple turns? Obviously, you don't want to simulate the actual transit time. Well, yes, they do. They will follow off over multiple turns. So my Mars, first off, there are windows here, if you notice, in the dates. to do a Mars interplanetary satellite, I need to launch here and or here, and that sort of follows the sequence of the orbital eccentricities of Earth to Mars, which is roughly 26 months. And so that's my launch window to go. Otherwise, I can't send that. Venus is a little more forgiving. This is right now a time to launch to Venus, but I need to upgrade to the next satellite. But Venus happens within, if I launch, it happens within the same turn at least. Mars, if you notice here, when we do the roll, it is a pause. It says Mars next season, and there's a pause there. So we go to the next turn, and then we get to roll and get the garner the prestige, and hopefully the satellite succeeds and powers on. So we get some really grainy black and white photos like Mariner 3. And we go, oh, what a depressing place. There's nothing there. It couldn't be interesting at all. How disappointing. It doesn't look like the canals of Mars. But as we learn, there's a lot more interesting things with higher resolution. And we just happen to pass and get 17 photos of poor quality images in some of the most uninteresting parts of Mars. Might have to go with a low reliability one-man capsule to make that goal. Yeah, we're looking in a... Wait a minute, did I get this? Yeah, we're in the spring of 58. We may have to push things here. We're looking tough here. And I made a critical error. I did, as far as that goes. So all right. Well, let's we got our card. I got a breakthrough on this half stage rocket for the fun of it. Let's see what we got here. I rolled a 4, which means I get to add 100 to my half stage rocket, so it's 400. Whoopie-doo, but doesn't really help me much. So I wrote it here on the sheet, 400 there. We're going to probably retweak the sizes here, so there's a little bit more room on that. And my budget goes up 6 in this situation because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, having money is never a bad thing. So at least they're anxious, my politicians, I would say. Now, the Soviet player, what did he get? He got a fortunate accident to see about his problem here. Okay, so he's got this card here. And we're going to run the Soviet mission when we finally succeed or fail with his date to see if he succeeds. Because he may not make the date either. We have a result, but I'm sort of playing a couple enhanced rules here with the spacecraft simulators and things like that, and the astronaut skill sets. In the core game, you actually just use a default of the astronaut skill saving throw, and it's 40%. It's not great, but it's something. And if you want to have a little extra finesse, you play with the skills and the experience and the number of missions, and if they've become heroes or not by doing space first. You have the simulator as well, and you invest further into that to push it up to a 4. You can increase that simulator. Right now it's at a 3 for my Mercury capsule. I could buy an extra point, which is really 5% of my saving throw overall. When you look at that point on a 1d20, you add all this stuff up. And that'll cost me 3 megabucks. So it might be worth it at some point if we're doing that. So just a reminder, the Soviets got a fortunate accident card, which gives them to see a problem on their most advanced satellite or probe. I thought that was going to be with a capsule, so that's not going to really help them that much. But that's the card they got. They do get cards that can impact us. We got a card that impacted them. We were able to steal their technology to give us a better, more robust Redstone rocket, actually. We learned something from that. Okay, so we are in the... Oh, before I moved that up, I moved it up 6. I shouldn't have done that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're here, 1495. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're at 101 in cash. Okay? So we're at 101 in cash. And you're wondering, well, what if our budget goes over? When it goes over, we just flip it over and it's got 2, and that means 100. So it's like at 102, you'd have it showing that way as far as. Okay, we're full of money, and now we're going to buy that one-stage rocket. We're going to buy that at 24. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 87, 77. So we bought the one-stage rocket, and it lifts 500. And now we're going to R&D everything. Do we need to replace? Let's see what we have in our inventory. I have one rocket left, and I have a Mercury capsule, and I have a spacesuit. So we're going to buy an additional rocket, which is 1, just to have that in our inventory here. And you know what? I'm going to buy another Mercury capsule too, which will cost me 2. So that pushes our cash at 74. And this is what I have, just so everybody wants to see what I have here. I've got some astronauts that are sitting in the astronaut offices studying their charts. And I've got 2 of them also in advanced training. And these guys are obviously going to be available for specific mission ready status when we announce a mission. Okay, so now we're going to, we've done our budgets. We're going to draw event charts. We've done, and we're going to purchase new programs, which I've just done. I've purchased that big new rocket, which I need to pull out the Atlas. Here we go. Here's the Atlas. 24, and it's going to start at 10%. And we may have to take some risks here if we want to. Okay, so we've done all our purchasing. Now we're going to R&D. Okay, first off, we're going to R&D that Atlas rocket program, which is right here. And that's going to cost me 2 per die. It's going to cost me 10 because it's more expensive. So it goes down to 64. And I'm going to buy those dice. And I rolled 11, 13, plus 5 is 18. 18, 28. Okay, next we're going to R&D the Mercury capsule, which is another 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's at 59. 10, 19, 20. Well, I'll take that. That's good. That puts us at 51. And we're going to get that pressure suit up to skill too. So the pressure suit, we can get it up to 96. We're going to buy 5 dice on that. It's going to be another 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down to 54. 12. 16 plus 5, 21. 174, 84, 94. Okay. I can't R&D anything else. Everything is at their levels. We'll do a little review here. I might, in the longer game, continue to R&D my orbital satellite in a longer game, but we're playing this short game, and really this is a demonstration game, so a little fast there, sorry. I can't increase the redstone any higher except by experience. Succeed or fail, it goes up 1%. Okay, now we schedule future missions. And honestly, I think we should, we're not ready to launch a capsule yet. I mean, if we go, capsule at 51%, let's say I roll a 20, I'm at 71%. Next turn in the fall of 58, it's risky. Now, it is 2 rolls on a suborbital. It is rocket, then reentry, recovery, those last 2 on the capsule. And that's not a good place to be. Now, I have an option here. And if you're still there listening, we could do, and this is an enhanced rule, the enhanced safety, if you remember we talked about yesterday. The enhanced safety is, this may be where that extra increase on my redstone may pay off too. If I purchase a 1-man capsule, which I've already marked here just for the fun of it so you can see it, it's going to add, it costs me 10 megabucks for each one of these steps, but it will increase the safety factor an additional 6%, not to exceed its maximum safety level. But if I R&D next turn, and let's say I get 20, I'll be at 71. It'll get me, by spending another 20 here for these 2 steps, which are the only 2 steps that I'll be using the capsule rolls on, it will give me an extra 6%. So what do you think? Thumbs up? I say we should go for that. I mean, I think we should. This might put us back in the game. It gives us an enhanced safety shield, but it adds weight. Go for it. I like your attitude. It gives us extra, it costs extra weight. So this is going to be, and there's a little defining rule, sub rule. Thank you for that. Go for it as well. I've got several. Go large, live large. I agree. We're going to go for it. Now I want to explain one other little wrinkle on this. On suborbital flights, now remember, this is the redstone payload is 300 into orbit, but suborbital, it can lift 600 suborbital. And that is the subtle wrinkle about that. And it's in the rules. And this is for suborbital, this is what it can lift 300 into orbit. That's what all these rocket lifts are, but it can lift double its weight suborbitally. Well, no, I can't put straps. And somebody asked, can I put strap-ons on it? I can't on this particular rocket. That's the one drawback. So this is sort of the decision dilemma on this. But it's okay. We can at least get man in space. And that may, at least give us consolation. And maybe the Russians will do badly. We don't know. We don't know. We don't roll the Russians until we have achieved something to see how they did as far as that goes. And then what we'll do is, another little extra wrinkle is for the, there's an extra special bonus rule I have in the back of many of these books. If you want to play for solitaire for extra grit and grins, you get to roll their mission. And if they don't succeed their mission, then that's just when they had their launch. And the simple game of solitaire is that's when they got their launch. But you can play it out and say, no, that's when they tried their launch. And if they don't succeed, then you need to roll again for them as far as that goes. Okay, so we're going to go for that. We're going to buy those 2 enhanced safeties for the parachute recovery step, and we're going to buy the enhanced safety shields for the reentry step. That's going to cost us 20, though. Okay, just to remind you, 20. Our cash we're rich. We're at 54, so heck yeah, we're going to do this. So that pushes us down to 34, and we have this. Okay, so we're going to schedule a launch, and we can always cancel it, right? If it's really looking bad and bleak, I'll let you guys pick the, probably Slayton will probably send because, he's the best pilot, but we'll see. So next turn, we're in the spring, November, we're going to launch, put this, there's our launch. Of course, human players have no idea what this crazy American player is doing here. What are they doing? I mean, another satellite? Well, maybe. So this is November 58. This is going to be Mercury 1. This is going to be man suborbital. And we are going to pick an astronaut. And actually, I'm going to play smart on this. I'm not going to use Slayton because, well, yeah, there's no saving throw on those two steps. So it's kind of a waste. I'm going to pick Conrad and Collins. I'm going to have, here we go, Conrad and Collins. They're both twos. And I'm going to make Collins the backup and Conrad's the. So what we do is you notice their astronaut numbers in the upper right-hand corner. And that's how we facilitate. And I'll show you what I write here. I have Conrad is number 17. He's going to be first. And Collins is 29. So I'm going to show you my secret mission seat that I write this down with. So I wrote down November 58, Merc 1, manned suborbital. Number 17 is the primary. Number 29 is the backup. Okay? So those are my two astronauts. So we've scheduled that next turn. We get another chance to R&D, and let's hope we get a really good R&D card. That would be special. That would be really special. So, okay. So let's review here. We've got no mission scheduled this turn. We've scheduled a manned mission there. Now, another option another option we could have done, at least for when we do an orbital, we could buy another launch facility, and that gives us a window of another month. And if we have the cash, we're going to spend that. We're going to do that. I've been just kind of trying to play cautious, trying to sort of teach you guys a cautious game, but I understand your go enthusiasm. Go flight. Okay, so we're going to look at the cards here. We're going to get a card here. Okay. And this is my card, which actually is kind of interesting. Add 200 lift capacity to the half-stage rocket. My rocket's going to get better if I have a lucky roll here. Sorry, I didn't show it to you that well. And I get a +7 on the budget, too. So that's not a bad card. Whoops, move that right there. That's not a bad card. And let's get what this guy is here. The Soviets, they got something about their satellites are going to increase. Really no impact for them. So, okay, my budget, back to here, is going to go up an extra 7. So, to 98, my budget's at. There's the budget at 98. And now I'm going to roll because, guys, ladies, if anybody's out there, if I get this 200 lift capacity to my half-stage rocket, we're golden because my half-stage rocket's going to lift 600. So we've been tweaking the performance of the Redstone rocket to be better than the Atlas rocket in this alternate world of history we're doing here. Okay, so here we go. 1 through 4. Did you see that? Whoops, I'm off camera. I rolled a 5. I didn't get it. Oh, well, alas. Okay, that puts us back into still having big problems with our little rockets. Okay. All right, so we've drawn our cards. Now we're going to purchase programs and hardware. And we're in the fall. I think what we're going to do is I have to do this before I spend my hardware. I can't. Oh, this is a dilemma. Well, let's see. What do we have to R&D? We've got to R&D. We have to R&D the capsule, which is 5. And if we do the Atlas, it's going to cost us 10. So that's 15. And everything else is maxed out. So that's 15. And how much is in a second launch facility? It's 20. I don't have the funding. I was looking at, do I have the funding to buy a second launch facility, which is going to give me a window opening of an earlier month launch possibility? do I want to do that? And I don't have the funds to do that and R&D all these. And I really have to spend all my money on contractors. So it doesn't work out that way. I thought that would be an interesting roundabout way of giving me a little more flexibility in getting an earlier launch in the year. And it doesn't happen. So, okay, we're going to spend our money R&Ding the Atlas, which is going to take us down to 24. And then I'm going to spend my 5 on the Mercury, which is going to take us down to 19. So we're going to do the Atlas rocket first. Oops. And I just threw the die on the floor here, and I'm going to get it. Here we go. Okay, the Atlas rocket, 6, 12 plus 5, 17. Average roll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Puts me at 45. Next turn for the Atlas, maybe. Okay. But here's the important part. It's the capsule. I was hoping we'd get a +1 R&D on something, but we haven't gotten those. Great. Oh, not a good roll either, guys. Not a good roll. There's 5, and there's 10, 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 66. Oof. Oof. Okay. Ooh, we are looking at some challenges here. Okay. All right. Well, we need to schedule future missions. And I think we need to schedule, we will have our capsule at better rates for another suborbital if we want to do that. And we could take a risk. You know what I'm going to say we do? I'm going to suggest, yeah, live large. I agree with you. Thank you. No real people die in the development of this game. Yeah, I know. Yeah, but when you're playing with other adversaries, you don't want to crunch it. You really don't. Yes. And what's great about this game is there's amazing recovery because of, if you notice those budget columns, budgets generally fall in an average between 90 and 110 or 115. And that is enough of a budget to develop a lunar program. Maybe not the best lunar program, but it keeps you in the game. And people, it's like a golf game, and watching somebody else's rounds on the 15th hole, suddenly they fold and crumble, and suddenly you're 6 below, 6 behind in shots, and suddenly they hit a triple bogey, and now you're in the game. And that's kind of what happens in this. And this suddenly gives you opportunities in that. So we are going to go large. We're going to schedule a manned orbital mission here in the spring in May. And we can always downgrade it, right? That's going to be May. I'm sorry. No, not May. I'm sorry. That's November. That'll be in November next term. November 58. And that'll be Mercury 2, man orbital. And I'm going to pick, now here's where I'm going to get my astronaut and try to get some skill rolls here. And I'm going to put Slayton here. Where is he? There he is. Number 7. And I'm going to pick Cooper for the backup, number 6. Okay. So I have secretly scheduled a November 58 Mercury 2 manned orbital, and it's going to be Slayton and Cooper. And those are set aside here for next turn. And if we decide to cancel, okay, and we'll cancel it if we have to. Okay, so we have a launch here on the pad. I don't think we're going to rush because we're already at a huge disadvantage. We have a manned suborbital, and this is, as far as no rushing, and there's no other human players. So we would announce to the world, we're launching a manned suborbital, and our astronauts, which if we got camera 2 here, is going to be Conrad and Collins. So it goes like this. You have a primary, as you can see, there's sort of a primary, and you have your backup there, just in case if something happens on the way to the pad. There's event cards, so you may have it, astronauts catch flu and all sorts of things. So you have to go to your backup there. And we're using a redstone here, and we have a capsule here. But the good news is that we also have enhanced safety here, which will give us an extra 6%. Okay, we're going to move. So we've assembled our rocket. There it is. Big, gleaming, bright redstone with a Mercury capsule on it. And we've got Conrad is the astronaut in the seat. And we've got our launch here for liftoff. This will be the rocket, and then reentry and recovery. So it's going to go like that. Just a nice little suborbital. Here we go. We're going to roll for the rocket. The rocket is at 89%. 20 is go flight. And now we go to reentry. We're rolling for the capsule, which the capsule is at a whopping 66% on the reentry, plus the enhanced safety on the heat shield, another 6%. That puts us at 72%. And fingers are crossed. And we rolled a 37, which is great. And now we're rolling for recovery, which is still at 72%. And we rolled a 26. We are looking like a straight flush right here. We have succeeded on that, and which is phenomenal. Phenomenal. Here's the excitement. So first off, I'm going to move up the Mercury capsule 1% because of experience, and we're going to move that rocket up at 1%. We're also going to get Cooper here, and Coop is going to be, at least for our country, a hero, and he's going to get one flight. So he has a check for hero and one flight there. And now we're going to roll to see what the Soviets, if we were first. He's certainly a hero in our country, and he's a first for our country. But did we beat Ivan, the Soviets, on this? So as we followed this from before, we had the orbital satellite, and now we're going to go to 2A, and we're going to see what the Soviet is going to do. There's a series of players here, decisions here that they're going to decide. Let's hope they decide poorly this time. So it's what type of capsule program they're going to go with. And I'm going to roll the dice, the 1d6. 1 through 4, they're going to go for the one-man capsule. And they rolled a 6. They decided, hey, this is good news, guys. They decided to go with the mini shuttle, which is a great relief to me. They're going to go with the mini shuttle, which is very interesting. We had a question about that earlier. And they roll a 5, which means they're going to go with the one-man mini shuttle. And they're going to go with B. And they're going to go, first thing they're going to do is, there's a +1 on that. So we rolled a 4. And they're going to go for orbital first. Okay, so I'm going to show you what happened here. They rolled mini shuttle. They rolled for a one-man mini shuttle, and then we go to 4B, and they rolled a 4. And if you look at the Soviet, they're up there +1. They're going to go to an orbital mission instead. That's going to be their first mission. So they don't go for suborbital. So the good news is we get first in space suborbital, which is really good for us. So let me get my prestige bit here going, which is going to get us 24. Money's not a problem. 1, 2, 3, 4. Time is the problem. That is our problem. So our budget goes up, and it goes up to, here we go. Budget is massive. If we were playing the long game, this would be phenomenal. It would put us in a really great position here. Okay, we just got to get orbital going. Okay, so we got Cooper. He is a hero, and if we get him in a hot seat again, he cannot fly. Notice over here, he's flown in the spring. He can't fly in the fall because he just flew. And we've already established who's flying in that. But he can fly next year if we decide not to go for orbital here. Okay, so we're going to clear the docket over there for launch declarations, and we're going to move it to the fall, and we're going to move the turn to the fall of 58. We have one more payment turn after this, the 59, to the end of 59. We can survive till. Now, whether we win the game or not is a fair question. Okay, I've got 19 megabytes to spend, which is good. We have a manned orbital here to go, but we can decide to go for all the gusto too. We have another chance to R&D, which is healthy. Okay, we have a question. When you have multi-man capsules, does each seat get a primary and secondary? I'm assuming yes. You are absolutely correct. There will be, I don't know if you have the old game. I think it came out with 16 astronauts per faction. We were doubling and tripling them over all the time. And in this, we're hoping you'll get 30 astronauts, which should be enough because a lot of them flew multiple flights. As long as you play cautious, which I'm sure all of you will play very cautious, unlike how we're playing here. Because I don't like to fly at 72%. I mean, that's extremely risky. But we pulled it off. So I appreciate your management skills and getting us through that. You guys listening there? Okay, so we're going to purchase programs, and I want to make sure we have everything we need. I did buy an extra Atlas rocket, but I don't have another Redstone, and I need to buy that right now. Before I do that, I've got to get event cards. So we're going to draw event cards here. Sorry. Okay. Okay. This is my event card. It'll affect future suits like the EVA suit or the lunar suit, which is a new wrinkle in this game. The original game, we just had a generic suit, and it was kind of for everything. In this game, in 2.0, we have 3 types of suits you can purchase. And then obviously if we get to do expansions, there'll be a 4th type of suit and a 5th type of suit. Depending on what tech level, you would have a Mars suit, but you'd also have, if we were playing in tech level 3 or 4, you would have a new tech 3 or 4 lunar suit, which we're obviously working on. Now, my budget, just so you know, is at 122. And if you notice in the category, my budget's going to go down 15, which I'm not surprised. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, wait a minute. Let me cash my cash bonus here too. Let me make sure I got my cash right here. So I have a whooping amount of cash. So I'm at 122, 142 minus 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I have a lot of cash, but my budget's going to go down 15. 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's down to 107. Okay, so I'm at 107, my budget, but I have so much cash in this game. It's not an issue. And so this card is really null and void. It doesn't have any impact in this particular game. But let's see what the Soviets got as far as the card goes. Soviet player got better sensors and reliability for improving the safety of their orbital satellites. They keep getting these satellite cards. Oh, well. That would have been nice for us at an early point. Okay, so now we are we're going to put that Mercury capsule. It's gone into a museum. It's the one we just flew, that Cooper flew. And now we need to buy also, well, we did buy one set here. I think we should buy another set here just in case. So I'm going to buy another Mercury capsule and a Redstone rocket, which is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to buy also another Atlas just for the heck of it. That's 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we have a bunch of hardware here, and we've got 2 capsules here. We've got a lot of stuff here, just so you know. I know it's out of sight of you. And don't forget, our coolest thing is we have those extra weighted enhanced safety kind of things too, which are kind of exciting. Now, since we bought the Atlas, we are going to buy strap-ons, because if we use enhanced safety on that other mission, it weighs too much. So we're going to buy strap-ons too. Okay, here are my strap-ons that we can put on the Atlas. Oh, it's expensive. It is really expensive, but we need it. We really do. So strap-ons start at 5%, and there's no tech tree for them. Now let's feast or famine on technology, right? Okay, so it's 16, down to 32, down to 16 in cash. And we still have lots of money. We do, lots of money. We have 116 cash here. Okay, we're going to R&D everything now. So the strap-ons we're going to do first, and they cost 3 per die. That's 15, so we're going to go down to 101. Eight, 11 plus 5 is 16. 11, 21. Okay. All right. Next, we are going to do the Atlas rocket, which is another 10. So 91. I hate seeing ones there. So we got 15 plus 2 is 17. 6, 7, 52. 62. Okay. Next is our capsule, our Mercury capsule. It's another 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 8 plus 4 is 12. Plus 4 is 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 83. Okay, here I'm going to do a little review because I know we're a little bit off screen. Okay, our budget right now is, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, our budget's at 107. And our capsule's at 83, which is pretty healthy. Our half-stage rocket is there at 90. And our strap-ons are there, which we don't want to fly with. And oh, here it is, sorry. And our Atlas rocket's at 62. Okay. All right, so we've R&D'd everything. Now we want to schedule a mission next turn. And I say yes, in the spring of 59, we're going to launch, schedule a launch. And you know what? We're going to schedule, and we're going to, yeah, I should have bought another launch facility. I'm out of sequence here. But, oh well. Status check. We're close to scheduled time. It can run a bit longer. We're in the final event. Okay, well, we're really close to this. as far as the launch goes, but we're going to schedule another manned orbital. And by then we're going to put Conrad up there. Was it Conrad? Yeah, I guess it is Conrad. We're going to put Conrad up there. He's 17. Yeah, he's the one that flew. 17. And we're going to pick Schweikert, number 35. And we're going to do manned orbital. And it's going to be Merc 3 if we succeed. And it's going to be in 59, so it's going to be May 59. Okay. All right. So there we go. He's going to be scheduled for that. Okay. So now we go to our launch here. We're going to assemble it. We're doing a manned orbital. We've got Slayton as the primary, and we've got Cooper as the backup here. And we've got our Mercury capsule, and we've got our Atlas rocket, because we need that for lift to get into orbit. Here's the drawback. It lifts 500 and the capsule weighs 500. So we can't use the enhanced safety. We don't have the lift right now. So we're flying off the cuff with what we have. So we're going to have to light this candle, this Atlas rocket, at 62%. So everybody better say go flight, because we're doing it. Okay? So this is going to be a manned orbital. And to review this, we are going to be doing these steps. The liftoff here. Let's make sure we got this here. There we go. And then we have OIB, and then we have orbital activities, and we swing around to deorbit burn, reentry, recovery. So just the first roll is the first two rolls is the rocket, and then the rest is the capsule. Okay, and our rocket's at 62%, folks, on an Atlas rocket, because I feel like the Soviets are breathing on our neck. Even though they're going, we know, for a mini shuttle orbital, which is going to delay them a little bit. But here we go. Our rocket's at 62%. Here it is. Ooh, we rolled a 7, a 007. That's 7, all nominal and solid, go flight. Okay, we are rolling on the rocket again. 78. We have an OIB failure. There is no saving throw for this. So now we're going to go to the failure mode charts. Wake up if you're there still. We've got the failure mode chart in operation. OIB, orbital insertion burn, which here is a reference, is B1, Baker 1, for the chart. Okay. Just sort of, there's Baker 1, orbital insertion burn. I can't fit it all on the screen, sorry, but I will read you what we get. Okay, so we're going to roll percentiles here. We rolled a 10. Engine burn failure. Craft fails to make orbit and re-enters atmosphere. Go to re-entry mission step. It's considered a mission failure. And then it has notes about if it was returning from the moon, which it's not. So it's going straight to re-entry here. We were trying to reach orbit, and instead it's just doing re-entry. But now we roll the capsule, and the capsule's at pretty good level here. The capsule is at 83%. I was going to say Slayton is having a rough ride, let's just say that. He rolls a 48. And now we roll recovery. I'm really rolling well in the missions, 26. So make it home, makes orbit, is a spaceman hero, which is great. So that's not bad. And we didn't make it as far as that goes, but he's going to be a hero too. Um, no, he's not. He doesn't get to be a hero. He's not first in space. So, I mean, we already gave that to Cooper. He didn't make orbit, so he doesn't get to be a hero. But he does get a flight. So that's another point. That's another 5% for his skill set there. Okay, so we had a little taste of the failure mode, and we had a survival, which is phenomenal. Now, the good news is the capsule goes up 1%, and the rocket goes up 1%. So now it's at 63 and at 84% as far as that goes. And we go merry on our way. Well, now we go to it's the end of the turn here. This guy survived, and now we're going to move the turn here, and this is going to go to 59. And we have another card here. Oh dear. Well, when they're ready, my strap-ons are not at 1,000. They're at only 500 now, but still that's more than enough. But we're not getting the performance we hoped out of that as far as that goes. But my budget goes up one whole megabuck, which is great. It could have gone down when you're over 100, so that's not bad. My budget's there, so not too bad. It's a river card too. I wanted to, by the way, not that we're getting many. I haven't gotten many river cards, but you have 3 of those, and then when you have a 4th one, it goes away whatever the first one you got. So these impacts, it may take a few years, but that shows the tweaking of improving and getting it back to where it was nominally planned to be at 1,000 lift, and of course it only lifts 500, which is rather frustrating. So, but that card is frankly dead. Let's see what the Soviets got. Well, they got a creeping payload weight on their, which we could have gotten on our satellite. They got it instead. So anyway, went up 50 in weight, but that's not a big deal for them. Okay, so we are in the spring and we have cash, and I still have a lot of cash. So I'm so well off in cash, and I'm well over 100, and I'm just flush with cash. So it's really a matter of me just getting through this turn and it ends, and getting somebody in orbit. And we're getting close. So let's just R&D and see what we get to wrap this up, and also for a time factor. I'm going to R&D my strap-ons. Oh, wrong dice. I'm going to R&D my strap-ons. There we go. We got 12 plus 2, 2, 2, 6. So 18. So it goes from 29 to 39. And we have my Atlas rocket. This is the one that's going to really help us. We've got 5, 10, 13. Terrible, terrible roll. 66, 76. And let's check the... Boy, I can't get that. Yeah, I was going to say that's it. I can't move it up any higher. Okay, so there we're at. We've got everything R&D'd. Everything's maxed out. We've got a scheduled launch, and I will schedule another orbital flight. I'm not going to write it down to speed it up, but I'm going to put another orbital flight for in the fall over here, and it will be a manned orbital. And we just have launches to do and see if we can get it. So this one I had Conrad going again into orbit, and he's a 4, and we'll assemble this over here. We've got our Mercury capsule. We're going to find out how well we do, if we succeed or not. And here we go. We're in the spring of 59, and we're rolling, and we rolled an 80. It was an 89. I knocked it over. We just rolled an 89. We have a failure node on the launch, on the rocket. We're going to go to the failure mode chart. Failure mode chart, for those interested in the failure mode chart. This is a manned launch, and we will roll what it is and what the severity. We rolled 11, which is a major booster problem. Launch is canceled. And fortunately, it's not catastrophic, but it is a -3 prestige, and the launch is canceled because it's a no-go. It's, as far as protocol, it has just been canceled. So that is a loss. So that's all we had scheduled this turn. You know what? This turn when we did it, I'm going to have 2 orbital missions attempting because we bought that second facility, I'm going to say. So we have that 2 facilities there, and we have 2 more manned orbital launches to try next turn. Because we're just going to find out when we get to go, and this is the last turn we get to go in the fall, and then we'll find out when the Soviets did it. So I know I'm kind of skipping ahead, but it gets us to really the rubber on the pavement here. And so here we go on the launch of the next mission, orbital, and that's just going to say they're maxed out. Actually, this will be maxed out at this point. Let's see what can it go to? It can go to 95. Yeah, it would be maxed out at this point by R&D these last 2 turns. Okay, our Atlas is looking good. We rolled a 79 is go. OIB is go. Now we roll a satellite. Satellite is at 84. Is go for 54 at orbital activities. Goes to, I'm not on screen here, and I'm sorry here. There we go. So we went from orbital activities, fly around, to deorbit burn. Capsule, 12, reentry, 41, recovery. Folks, I hope you're watching this. We have a 99 here on recovery. And there's no saving throw here. 99. And recovery is step I1 here. We have a failure on recovery. We're going to roll these out. We rolled a 49. We have extraction difficulties. Roll 1d10. We're going to roll this again. We rolled a 3. Hatch is jammed shut. It had to be cut open after craft has been retrieved. Now, this is a little detail. For each previously injured accident, which we do not have, fortunately, but this could have happened on a mission, during a mission, a longer mission. So for each previously injured astronaut, there is a 40% chance this delay will lead in death. Any deaths means mission is catastrophic. Otherwise, the mission is still a success. So we succeeded in the fall, in the October month of 59, of getting manned orbital. So now we will see what the Soviets achieved, and ironically going for a shuttle, thank goodness. In the short game, that hurts them, but in a longer game, that could be quite compelling for them and quite advantageous, having a reusable spacecraft. So they were at 4B here, and they picked orbital mission, if you remember. And it says go to chart A, then chart 7B. So we're going to roll chart A, and there's no modifier. And they rolled a 2. Some setbacks to R&D hardware progress. That's what happened to the Soviets, which is good for us. Add a year to manned suborbital orbital results, which we know they were going for orbital. So we're going to add a year. And now we're going to go to the mini shuttle orbital, chart 7A. Yeah, which is all the way over here. Okay, we have to do a sub-roll here, which is 2, so it's... Well, they didn't get this mini shuttle up until orbit until 1960. So the good news is we won the game by the fortune that the Soviets went a more expensive and more costly route, and we were able to win this short game here. So that is really, really fortunate because they did not go with a one-man or two-man capsule, which they would certainly be earlier, and the dates would be earlier. So to summarize, we had a manned orbital in the October 1959, and we've sort of completed almost Act 1 in the space race. Beyond that, you really need to get, and that was a duration A. Thank you, Derek. Woohoo! Yes, we would do with durations. Yeah, they do, and that's an excellent point. Somebody just said, but they have a reusable mini shuttle, and they do, and that is they're going to get buku prestige points if that was a human player. Huge number of prestige. The programs, as we progress in the longer game, I just want to sort of bring up this card for you, is a lot more expensive. I mean, here we were playing with one-man capsule, and yeah, here's a mini shuttle at 40, but thank you. And I was going to say, but here are the expenses. And if you look at rockets, we've dealt with half stage and one stage. You see the programs are expensive, but also the R&D contractor costs are really overwhelmingly expensive. And you can see here too, very, very, very expensive as far as that goes. So that's a nice costly item that they got going. So we've completed the short game, and we played the solitaire. It's the first time I've ever done solitaire online, so I apologize for a little bit of my awkwardness because I hadn't done it before and I was grabbing things. And if you have any questions, we do have a website, and you also we're on Facebook, and looking forward to getting this game into digital fashion. We will get it on one of these Steam kind of things too, at least to get us to the short game. Thank you. We would like to get this out and ready. That would be even satisfying. And then if there's a check included, that's like, really? Wow, that's great, because we've been working on this a long time. It's very, very exciting, and there are no more questions I'm getting from my moderator here, because I know he probably wants dinner, and I do appreciate that. So I want to thank Merle for all his help, and thank you all for being here, the last session of the entire connections this time. And we will be doing more online plays, so stay in touch. We're on Facebook, we have a website, and we're on X also. So I do post there, and I'm hoping I will have some exciting news about where this game might be, how it's getting manufactured and everything. It will be very, very exciting. You might be familiar with some of the information if it happens this way. So, just look for us, and hopefully the expansions too. They're even more exciting. So good evening. You all have a great weekend, and this concludes our mission schedule now. Thank you very much.